Hey everyone, welcome.
That's a great way to bring it in.
Oh my god, what is happening?
That's what I was going for. Hey everybody, welcome to WeDAP 26.
26, nailed it.
That's how a host should bring in the show. Today we're talking
Just
about...
completely unsure.
Completely unsure, yeah. I have no idea what's going on.
Who's keeping score?
Today we're doing a Game of Thrones podcast. Probably the last one, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, until the
Spin-off.
prequels.
Yeah.
We'll do another one.
Until those come out. I'll give one a chance.
So, Game of Thrones has now ended. And before we go any further, just spoilers all over the place.
Spoiler!
Many spoilers to be had.
We're not even going to put a timestamp. We're just saying from here on out, I'll tell you that Daenerys got murdered.
If by somehow you've been able to manage not getting spoiled being on the internet thus far,
yeah.
I mean, kudos to you.
That's true.
Because that's hard.
The culture is so interesting with like television shows because when Avengers was coming out, there was an internet driven thing about don't spoil Avengers, we can't spoil it, everybody wait, whatever. And even the director said something. But in TV, it's like, no, dude, you have to watch it tonight.
Yeah, you better hurry up and watch that.
If you're on the internet 15 minutes after it finishes, it's open game.
If I only wish it had been the reverse.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if that it was a ending worth
both.
spoiling.
Well, so we were saying, before we started, we're going to talk about the last episode, the finale first.
That's right.
Do you guys want to go through the whole episode?
I think it would be smart to go through it in sequential and then, talk about things here and there as the events happen.
Chronologically.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then once we finish it, we'll just talk about the whole thing.
Where do we start? What's the very beginning of this again?
Season 8, Episode 6, dubbed The Iron Throne.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good place to start.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. Sorry.
There you go. Well, Jon Snow sees Grey Worm and some of the other Unsullied murdering...
That's right.
They're
walking.
Executing.
Lannisters. Executing surrendered Lannister soldiers.
We're walking through the aftermath. You get a little bit of POV from Tyrion, which I thought was cool. It was a cool open. It's slow. It's like a slow burn, and you get to really see the horrors of everything going on.
Oh, horrors is a good word. Some really crispy bodies. Some very young, crispy bodies.
There's like even a shot where you see like one of the northern soldiers just like crying, just like sitting in the corner and stuff. I thought it was, and you get to see that.
Or that survivor walking past him, like
that
a
blurry
zombie, just like still smoldering.
And you don't even get to see it in full focus. You can just like see it it's really cool.
Which at first, when I first saw him, like in the back of my head, I was like, Jorah, aren't you dead? Man. And then I was like, oh, that's not Jorah. That's a burnt body.
He did kind of look like Jorah a bit, yeah.
Yeah, with the grayscale and all that.
It's like, this guy just keeps coming back.
I guess what I can say as a gripe when it gets to Jon meeting up with Grey Worm is like, it seems like it was building up enough tension for there to be some sort of like actual argument or explosive combat scene, which would have been really great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there was no way they could have done the combat scene.
And plus you had the Onion Knight there. He's the master mediator, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Well, I just also mean Jon knows that all of his men will be murdered.
Oh,
yeah, there's way more Unsullied.
Like I've seen these guys kill.
Yeah.
And they're really good at it.
And the armies of the North haven't arrived yet, so everything was pretty depleted.
And Jon insists that he has to go, like, is this Daenerys' orders? And then he goes off to go see Dany. But before that, we have like the speech, right? That's what's next?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think all of them kind of meet up in the right outside of the Red Keep, which is where Arya and Jon are kind of doing this sequential like move through the crowd as they move closer and they hear Dany's Hitler speech. And
very Mussolini-esque.
Yes, it's very, very dictator-like.
Yeah. I like how they framed it all, though. They had like the Targaryen. They always do that too when they have like Dany sack a city and it's pretty new. They just kind of like lazily sling a flag over like something. You know what I mean? Like they'll sling it over the Harpy and Marine.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, pay respect to that flag. Somebody had to awkwardly climb up that shambled building.
That's a huge flag.
With like this huge flag over their shoulder. Probably a team of them because that's a team lift situation. You know what I mean? And then just drape that thing down and shimmy back down these broken rocks. It's a hard job. Somebody's got to do it.
My favorite part about that flag is that Dany's been carrying that thing for years.
Oh, yeah.
So when they first took Marine after like being in the desert and almost dying, there was someone in that group that Danny was still making lug around this giant flag wrapped up in some bag. It's gonna come in handy, guys. I'm telling you, we're gonna have a turn.
At the end, you really just don't get the same payoff without the flag. Trust me. Like you'll understand when you see it.
My grandmother made it for me.
And I really wonder who is actually in the logistics, like doing this, because it's like she's only got soldiers employed by her now. So it seems like some soldiers are just like, okay, who's gonna do it?
Oh yeah, because before there was like the women, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that she had with them, the Dothraki.
They were like servants, sort of.
Yeah.
Handmaidens, I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say, maidens.
Yeah.
Also, in that shot, you get the really cheesy shot when she first lands down, and it almost looks like it's her dragon wings.
Yeah.
And then Drogon,
you know, some people really
nice
love
little stretch in the
shot.
back.
That shot seems that people are totally behind it. Though.
Yeah, and
so
I like looked online and I was like, man, it seems like a divisive 80% of them are down for it, and I was just like, I could barely see.
Yeah.
Some people like us that were just like, okay, we all kind of cringed when we were watching it. We were just like,
it's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not as down.
Well, the thing that I don't like the most about the scene is that, and for overall, I think this scene's really nice because you get Tyrion and Jon's reactions in the background. They're like, how have we ended up in this situation? But the part that I kind of irks me is that there's so much green screen.
Oh yeah.
Like it took me out of the experience a whole bunch, especially when later in the episode, like there's a time jump to future King's Landing and everything's just back. Like it looks just like it did. So that whole first half where we're just heavy green screen, I'm like, ugh. It feels weird. I feel like Game of Thrones hasn't done that before.
No, they just spent a lot on green screen on this one.
I guess the wall just looked better maybe. I don't know what it is.
Well, I've got a couple gripes with this scene, and one of them is probably something I should just learn from this season to not question, and that is the amount of soldiers that just popped up out of nowhere that are just in the courtyard here. It's lined with Unsullied and tons of Dothraki in there.
Oh yeah.
So there's that have been
tiny
depleted.
little horde.
Right? There's that, and then they show all of Dany's forces, like basically in front of the King's Gate. Like in the 2 episodes before, and it's nothing near that size. So I'll say that. But the other really big gripe, I think we even talked about it when the episode was airing, was like, okay, so Dany gives a speech, and she addresses the Dothraki in Dothraki. And I'm guessing, I know all her forces are from the east, but not everyone knows how to speak Dothraki. Because then she addresses the Unsullied in High Valyrian. And you're supposed to understand that the Dothraki are understanding that rallying cry, while also Jon and Arya and Tyrion, who is terrible notoriously at High Valyrian, is able to understand what she's yelling.
Well, I don't think Jon understood, and I don't think Tyrion understood fully, because Tyrion mentions it later. He was like, when he tells Jon, like, does that sound like somebody who's done fighting? I think he was just talking about her inflection. Like,
I can see what you're saying.
Hey, dude, doesn't she sound like she's on the warpath? Like, I didn't hear that 100%, but I know that didn't sound good.
You know what? That totally passed by me, too. I didn't even think about that, the whole language thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing that got me with the speech was, like, they're in this huge open area. There's a horde of Dothraki just screaming, yelling, and stampeding their horses. But they can all hear Dany perfectly.
Yep.
Wherever this was, I'm sure it's where they had like their outdoor concerts for like the summer events for families and stuff.
At the Red Keep.
Really good,
amazing natural acoustics.
There, yeah, it had to have worked out that way.
Has Game of Thrones pulled that kind of thing before? There's been a few times where Dany's been shouting from a distance.
Oh, they do it at
and I
that
guess
sept. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
I think the key is just doing it from the diaphragm.
I guess so, but we're just supposed to accept it, right?
We're supposed to accept it because they do that at the sept too. Even in that time where like all the forces are lined up because it's supposed to be the walk for Marjorie Tyrell against the Faith Militant and all that. And then the High Septon, like same thing, crowd full of people, same area. It's less destroyed, but like he's barely speaking. And everyone's supposed to, there will be no walk of atonement. And everyone's supposed to hear
that's
it.
Weird. That doesn't make any sense. Or like Ned Stark's execution. None of these places you'll be able to hear anything. I looked something up while we were talking here. Dany originally bought 8,000 Unsullied. And the boy's still in training, which is 5,000. Yep. So
total 13,000.
13,000.
Lucky 13,000.
But it seems like Game of Thrones is just kind of given the Unsullied to Dany, and then that's it. Where you just don't have to worry about how many they are, because even before the Battle of Winterfell, how many of them died from the Sons of the Harpy?
Like, a lot.
There were so many constantly getting killed, and I feel like what we saw could have been 8,000. Right, like
Well,
right at that last
maybe
scene.
on
I don't know.
Sullied, since you've removed their sexual organs, they now reproduce asexually.
Wow.
Like maybe we got some.
They just
like,
lay
I think
on
they call it
Sullied
like
eggs.
mitosis when the cells just split. Maybe that's what they're doing, man. They're just splitting.
That's the smartest reference we've ever had on the show.
Yeah.
It's like mitosis.
So
Yeah,
Somebody tell me if that's right.
I think those are valid.
moving on,
Someone-
Tyrion then approaches Dany, and I actually like this scene a lot. Because, I mean, it kind of gives you a clue that he's going to do something. I honestly thought he was going to do something outrageous.
I thought he was
and,
going to try to stab her
or
right
something.
there. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
awesome. I
That
think
guy
he
looked determined.
He was the only one that had access to her. But, like, I really liked it. It was a good dramatic scene where he pulls off the hand of the pin, the hand of the kingpin, and just throws it. And you're able to hear that thing clank, and then the Unsullied stop, which is great. I thought it was an awesome scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
is
pretty
good.
cool.
Well, I think she just yells, "Take him."
He told her what for.
Yeah, which leads us to Jon talking to Tyrion while he's locked up, and Jon is still.
Well, first Jon and Arya have their little discussion.
Oh, that's right.
Because Arya just
'Cause Arya's
creeps up
seeing
out of
this whole
nowhere.
thing
Yeah.
from
They watch her awkwardly walk away, kind of bouncing almost. Danny's like super happy and like this.
Yeah,
I'm
that's right.
working on sunshine.
Yeah, and seriously, she's got this like
Whoa, whoa.
she's like galloping away almost.
Well, I mean, it's a joyous occasion.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
this whole new liberated world.
Yeah. He and Arya's expresses concern.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
She says, "I know a killer when I see one,"
Yeah.
True.
which is like, yes, we saw her decimate a city. We know she's a killer.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I thought that line was also a little like, well, obviously.
Yeah, like
I was here too.
well, you see all these dead bodies hanging around.
Oh, I missed that.
I can literally smell them from here.
Yeah. And then we get to the crypt.
Yeah.
Jon, or not the crypt, but the whatever.
the cell, whatever he's
cell.
Ma-
dungeon.
Maegor's hold.
in. Is he in Maegor's hold fast?
Oh no, I thought we were talking about because Tyrion. Before this, we skipped over it a little bit. Tyrion discovering Jaime and Cersei's bodies.
Oh yeah,
Oh, we
that's the
did
next
miss
part.
that
That's
scene.
before. That's before this.
yeah, it's before he walks up because that's why he's so ticked off because he just saw like the remainder of his family like buried under some rocks.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I would have been fine if he just found the hand.
yeah.
If he
That'd have been
just
okay.
found the hand. You know what I mean?
Also,
Yeah.
somebody made a good point online in some meme I saw today where they were pointing out like the spot that's empty of bricks, like 12 feet over. They're like, all you're telling me was they had to stand 12 feet to the right and they would have been fine.
Yeah, that room, it looked like in that scene it was completely collapsed.
Right? It looks like everything came down, and then when
Yeah.
he goes in there, there's like
mostly
It
intact.
looks like somebody had like raked all like just piles
Yeah.
together.
And they
Make
were
the
so
room more
shallow in the
manageable.
pile too. They were still near like the surface of the pile. He only
Yeah,
removed, like, a
somehow in
couple
all that
bricks.
tumble, they came up on top of some bricks.
If they were like under a table, they would have been fine.
Right? And their faces looked almost completely intact for being crushed by tons
Yeah.
of brick. You know what I mean?
Well, that's for the forlorn lovers
Yeah.
thing.
still a terrible death.
I'm actually totally okay with the Cersei Jaime death. I've seen a bunch of people say that it like trashes Jaime's storyline, but no, that's just a story.
That is Jaime's storyline.
Yeah.
I don't think it trashes.
He loves his sister way too
Yeah.
much.
I think people wanted that book prophecy to happen, the Voluncar theory, where Maggie the Frog, one of those witches in, I think it's the beginning of season 5. She,
There's
like,
a character in
tells-
Game of Thrones called Maggie the Frog.
Yeah, she's the witch at the beginning of season
Who
5.
says all
I
her
think.
kids are gonna die, right?
Speaks to Cersei as a young girl.
Oh yeah.
The other part of that extended scene, which is not in the show, which is in the book, says like, and then when your tongue is turned to ash, or there's ash in your mouth, or something like that, the Valonqar will wrap his fingers around your throat and choke the life out of you, or something like that. And Valonqar is like a High Valyrian word for little brother. So that's what people were prophesizing was going to happen. It was either going to be Jaime, who is technically her little brother, or
Tyrion.
Yeah.
Little
So-
in two ways.
Yes. So it's just subverts that, and good old subvert experts D&D.
They subverted you, man.
They subverted everyone.
Well, did Tyrion kill Dany?
Danny?
I mean, essentially with
Yeah.
his words,
Yeah.
it's his best tool. It's the best tool he's got.
no, it's
Or not
Cersei.
Dany, I'm sorry. Did Tyrion kill Cersei? That's what I'm trying to say here.
Oh,
Like, is he somewhat responsible? Because he joined up with Daenerys.
I mean, yeah.
He could,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And maybe Jaime also did by putting him in the wrong spot that they were supposed to be
Actually,
sitting
yeah,
under.
they probably could have lived if they didn't go down to that meeting spot.
That's true. Which was Tyrion's plan, too.
Which was Tyrion's
True.
plan. Tyrion's plans. Not working out.
Not working out.
Not working out. You should just stop making plans.
They should have got the guy from the A-Team.
Well, he tried to, and they made him hand to the king again at the end of the episode.
That's
He's
true.
like,
They're like,
"Guys,
you know what? You were doing such a great job.
I made terrible decisions. Please, no.
Oh my god.
I can't have
That
anyone
guy's-
else.
He's like, have you seen my track record? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So moving on. Well, we're in the cell where Jon's talking to
Okay.
Tyrion, and this is some of the best Tyrion-Jon dialogue I've ever seen since he was at the wall with him in like season 1.
Yeah, they
or
don't
2.
get a lot of interaction
Yeah.
together. It
The
might even be
dialogue-
season 1.
I think it's season 1. I think
Sorry,
it's-
the dialogue in that scene made me think about how much I miss the old dialogue in the earlier seasons.
old Tyrion.
Yeah, really.
It had that feeling, and he's just telling him, you know, like, you're blinded by love and all that. And he brought up that quote from Aemon Targaryen that love is the death of duty and all that. And then he's just like, duty is the death of love. And he say,
Yeah.
I think he did
Did
a
a
Yoda on him.
Yeah,
It's
he
like-
was real good.
What if I just flip this around? Maybe he'll buy what I'm saying.
I thought it was good. Yeah, I don't know. That was a great scene. I honestly,
Yeah, I honestly have no complaints about that scene. That was very satisfying.
I think if anything, it would just be that like Jon is painted as like a one-dimensional character in this whole season, where he's just like honor and that's it, honor and that's all I
true.
have. You know what I mean?
But isn't that all Jon Snow has really had?
Yeah.
Like the whole time, it's honor, and then he puts love in front of honor. That's his entire
Yeah,
character.
true. Every time.
Every time he's done that. Honor's my most important. Oh well, you're kind of cute.
yeah. Ygritte.
She's dead. I'm back to being honorable.
Oh
Like,
man, I'm dead.
Even like the Battle of the Bastards, it's like the honor of like, yeah, I pledge this to the Night's Watch. It's like, oh, but now I have this technicality, which helps because everyone I love needs my help over here really
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jon, not that he didn't realize how bad things were, but just didn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he loved her.
Oh yeah, it's crazy bad.
He was blinded by the light.
I mean, you guys tell me some girl's gonna take you on a dragon ride, you're not gonna be all crazy.
I don't like that like falling feeling. I'd probably be like, oh, that was a mistake.
I would have been down.
I've been super down.
I would have taken it.
Yeah, but you guys like roller coasters.
I do, yeah.
Oh well, good point.
No gracias.
The most unreasonable part of that scene, and I mean, we don't have to pick tiny little holes and everything, but why would the Unsullied let Jon just in there by himself with the person who is like treasonous?
Yeah.
It's just weird.
There's no point.
Maybe it's one of those just old rules, you know what I mean? Just like everyone who's like, why didn't Cersei just shoot all of them and just kill them when they were there?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's a parlay. That's a
Yeah.
rule of war.
It seems like you would have to get permission from Daenerys to see Tyrion.
You would think.
And then so that would mean that there was an interaction prior with Jon and Dany that we just didn't see off screen. Where he
Or
had
maybe
to
they
gain-
just assumed like, hey, like that's John. Like
he's banging the queen.
He's banging the queen.
Yeah.
He's also Warden of the North.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
his rank is bigger
higher.
than anyone else's. Yeah, it's a little thing, but where happens next?
Let's see. So after they're in the cells,
He goes to.
He goes straight to Danny after that, no?
I think so,
Or is there
right?
yeah,
some...
he goes straight to the throne room after that. Jon, Dany does the scene of in the House of the Undying, where they're in the destroyed throne room. She sees ash and snow. She finally
Which was
goes up
pretty
to
close.
It was close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool. Prophecy doesn't need to be 100%. I'm glad that they're doing anything with
Which is a huge thing on how I think all of the prophecies kind of ended. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? All
Prophecies
of them
can
are
be funny like that.
Well, there's always like a little twist to it. It's
Yeah.
like, yes, these are the words, but this is really what it is. You know
It's
what I
like
mean?
a wish you get from selling your soul to Satan. A
Exactly.
la Bedazzled.
Bedazzled. That's all. That's Game of Thrones.
That is
Yeah.
a great
It's a really
movie.
long.
It really
fantasy
is. We gotta
version.
hit a CLA on Bedazzled.
That is an awesome
sometime.
movie.
What if at the end, like Jon Snow wakes up and he's like Brendan Fraser?
God, that'd be amazing.
That'd be a weird twist.
Oh, we should do a CLE though. I've seen that movie so many times.
I know, right? I
Yeah,
used
it's
to
a
watch
good
the
movie.
heck out
Yeah.
of that movie.
Side note: have you guys seen the deleted scene where he's a rock star?
No.
There's a whole like dream or wish that was replaced in the movie, and it's on the DVD as like the deleted scenes. You can see the whole scene.
Huh, I wonder
That's
which
awesome.
one won out. Maybe the drug dealer. The drug dealer is like
I think
one
it
of
was
my
the
favorites.
basketball one. It's one of the shorter ones.
Basketball
I
one's
don't remember.
pretty hilarious.
pretty
That
good.
is good.
It's so
It's a big
short
old
too.
dummy.
It's literally like
Yeah.
just it's like 5 minutes. It just ends in the locker room.
I really like the sensitive guy one. That one's really.
The sensitive guy's
that
really
one's really
funny.
stupid.
He's painting his.
I'm
picture of
really
the
enjoying
sunset.
this tangent.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bedazzle starts off. No,
Let's just change because it actually has a better ending.
True. It's a very satisfying ending. It
That's
just
true.
wraps
Actually,
up real
really
tight.
does.
Yeah.
It's hard to say what. No, it's not that song. It's a song like that though.
Bum, bum,
Hard to say what it is I see in you.
You. I wonder if that's.
Is that Bare Naked Ladies?
No, that's some one-hit wonder.
Ah,
It's
okay.
like Sister Hazel or something.
Oh, gross.
Huh.
Let me see here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Look that up while we do this.
Let's get back on here.
All right, so basically, Dany actually gets to touch the Iron Throne. We see Jon in the background as a silhouette. As
You know
he
what?
walks
Yeah,
in.
she never put cheek to seat.
Nope, no cheek to seat.
Yeah, which is super symbolic.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But prior to the scene, I didn't realize we got to see Jon's journey into the throne room, which was pretty cool. You see Drogon wake from that pile of rubble and snow that he's under, which is awesome. That's a great scene.
That was a great scene, yeah.
We were just like, oh my God, that's awesome. That's what CGI should be used for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sniffs him and he's just like, you're cool, bro. And he lets him in because there's no other guards guarding Dany, apparently.
Looks at her like,
And
you about to stab her right now? All right.
yeah,
Go for
it. Jon has all his weapons and full armor on while he goes to go see the queen alone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. So after she touches the throne, he talks to her and they get to start talking about the ideals of what just happened. But it's really strange because it's like Dany's just like a different character now. She's just talking about her brand new epiphany that she's had about liberating the world.
Well,
and,
Well, I think this
You
is
know,
like
that's
the
what
climax of her mania. You
that's
know
what
I mean?
genocide will do to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's riding that blood high, man.
yeah, and he's
Yeah.
talking to her about the gravity of what she's just done. You know, she's telling him like innocents, children, they're all burned, and it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, there's a line I think remembering is just like, who gets to decide about this new world?
They
Or-
don't get to decide.
Yeah, right. They
Yeah.
don't get to decide. And
Oh, what about those who like don't want this new world? Like,
Yeah.
they don't get to decide.
Yeah.
I am the decider.
That's metal. And well, there's a lengthy, and this goes back to the Tyrion Jon scene, especially like after the previous episode, a lot of people were kind of saying that Dany would never do something like that. And then
Oh, 100% she would though.
what
yeah,
the
she's done it.
Yeah, and what the whole point of this is that she thinks that she's just right. She thinks she
Yeah.
knows best now, and that she is like justice. She's
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, it's the point Tyrion makes when they're in the cell in the scene
Yeah.
before. He's just like think about it, man. She's been told her whole life this is her destiny.
Yeah.
And, like she makes one small victory by murdering all these people, and then we praise her for it.
Yeah.
And then she just does it over and over again. Like it's all gone to her head. Like
It's true.
Wouldn't you kill anybody who stood in the way if
She's
you
insane.
thought you were destined to free the world?
Yeah. I completely see it within her arc. Like, at first, it was a bit shocking to me and I couldn't understand it. But I think my bone to pick with it is just that it needed more time to breathe. If there could have been a whole season of her turning, then it would have had more gravity.
Instead of the last couple of episodes.
Yeah. It would have had way more gravity.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm kind of like, I'm on the fence about it. Part of me thinks that, because I've seen that a lot too. People are like, well, it's too rushed or whatever. I just don't know what other stories needed to be told this season, much less, well, just like maybe all of these stories just stretched out.
Yeah.
Which could have been interesting, but then we also would have had like a battle and then 2 or 3 episodes of just dialogue and talking. And I just don't know if, like, there's no more political intrigue. There's no more backroom dealings. Everyone's in their place. All the pieces are there. All the armies are ready. It's just like, let's murder. But in this one in particular, I did feel that Daenerys was way too rushed.
She was like deep in it.
She's only in the
Yeah.
first like 20 minutes of the episode, and then she's gone.
And it's fresh after the day after.
Yeah,
You know?
this episode especially, I wish was like 2 parts.
Yeah.
Or a full 2 hours. Just
This
give it a
season
big
needed
old
to be
episode.
10 episodes, man. This season
Yeah,
needed
why
to
not
be-
just do it 10 episodes?
And you know what's maddening is that, like, they gave them the funding and the options for 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And they said, no, cut it down to 6. We'll do it in 6.
They're like, we kind of just want to get done with it.
We gotta get on Star Wars, man.
Yeah.
They want that Disney money.
Disney's calling. Sorry, HBO.
And I feel,
You don't
I don't
make
know.
Mickey Mouse wait.
yeah.
You don't do it.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, man. I wonder what Disney is thinking right now, because this has got to be some kind of indicator, because they know that these two in particular were mostly responsible for, I'd say, 90% of the script for this season and last season.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's divisive at least to say.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're going to handle KOTOR? Are they the ones taking the KOTOR sidelines?
I don't know if it's been determined yet.
It's extended universe though that they're doing, right? Or
I'm sure. It's a new trilogy that's not supposed to be more of this main story.
I'm guessing they're closing the Skywalker saga on this.
I think this is supposed to be. I don't know.
Allegedly.
They say it every time.
I would hope so.
And
Let's
they
just
love
move
it.
on.
Nobody's ever really gone, though.
No one's ever.
No
really
one's
gone.
ever really gone.
Yeah.
God. Sorry, that is just a cringy line.
Just to bring this on back, it was Sister Hazel that sang all.
Oh
For
my
You.
God.
Yo, I got my.
I really
90s
appreciate
one-hit
that the
wonders.
2 episodes in the row, you have like taken it upon yourself to solve a question that was posed in
Yeah.
a tangent like minutes later, and I love you for it.
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
People are wondering.
Because it's like, wow, I totally forgot, but now that I know, I'm so glad I know for sure.
Yeah, you can add it to your Spotify now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you just boosted Sister Hazel's
Oh yeah,
plays on Spotify.
It's gonna go way through the roof.
An extra 2 plays.
We'll ask him if we can end the podcast with the song now.
Nobody's just that scene of Danny getting stabbed over and
Oh
over
my
again.
gosh! Well, with that, and that's next. John
Oh.
embraces Danny. Right, they're kissing, and then he gives her the old knife
Which
in the
you
heart.
don't even see on screen.
Yeah, you don't. But you get the face. You know what I mean? You get the what? And she dies. Hello.
That was so well timed.
She dies quickly thereafter. Like,
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
He stabbed her real
That's
good.
it.
He stabbed her right in
John's
the heart.
really good at stabbing.
yeah.
And unlike most people, he knows like from both ends of stabbing a person to death
Where
it's
to hit.
like. You
Where
know
to
what I
hit.
mean?
That's right.
True.
Like thinking back to past experience, like you know which one really made me bleed out though? Like right about here at this angle.
That's when
And
I died.
That's how I'm gonna do it. That's how I died.
To tie it in, they kind of did that whole subversion with the prophecy of the prince who was promised, or Azor Ahai, with killing Nisa through the heart, stabbing her in the heart with his sword, to make Lightbringer. But they changed it a little bit. But it was good. I thought it was a great scene of Danny dying. It was cool.
That whole throne room scene I really enjoyed.
That's how it. I feel like that's how the whole thing should have ended. It's like
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think that should have taken place later in the episode.
Yeah.
But that's what
Exposition.
happened.
You gotta like
Pretty much
tie everything up at
Well,
the end. You gotta get the big disappointment in there.
we get all the
that was like the climax.
which is it is the
That's
climax of the episode is
episode,
20
yeah.
minutes in. It's really weird.
yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen anything
The
like that
pacing's
before.
really strange too, because then it's just like, well, I liked when once it happens, you get a second of Drogon roaring, and you're just like, okay, now what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the climax being 20 minutes in kind of fits into the theme of how they structure the show sometimes. Because sometimes the biggest episode of the season will be like the second one in.
Penultimate.
A la,
Yeah.
not the Red Wedding. I think the Red Wedding was pretty early on too, but I'm thinking of Joffrey's.
Oh, that's like the third
name day.
episode or
Yeah,
something.
that's like
the second
that's right at the beginning
that's
of the
episode
season.
1.
Oh, is it really?
I'm pretty sure. I'm
Wow.
pretty sure it's episode 1 of
Wow.
season 4.
So GOT writers be like that sometimes.
Yeah, I've also the penultimate episode is always very important too.
True.
I think
Every
the Red Wedding
season,
was
yeah.
a penultimate episode of
I
season
feel like it might have been
3, I think.
I wonder though, would this episode have flowed better if they had just taken that whole first 20-30 minute chunk and put that at the end of the last episode
Yeah.
and just made that episode 2 hours long.
Wow.
So you watch the whole battle, then you see the aftermath, and Danny dies into the
Yeah.
episode. Then the final episode just all
Figuring everything out.
and they let that breathe a little bit more too because they were shoving people in there. Before we get on to the closing of the episode, pretty much the last 2/3 of it,
Last 60 minutes of the episode.
there is this Drogon comes like he just knows to fly in. He
felt something. He felt a disturbance in the force.
Pretty much.
Gave the Simba nudge.
the Simba nudge.
Oh.
Oh, Danny's
Which is
dead.
a
was
great
pretty
scene.
sad.
That was
Yeah.
a good scene. Yeah, like, I honestly, oh God, if it could have happened to where Jon just somehow has to either climbs on Drogon and then takes on the Unsullied, or just takes down Drogon, I thought it would have been incredible. But
This is so funny, but I actually
Well, it's like the whole time I was wondering, like, what's Jon gonna do about the Unsullied and this dragon?
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, the dragon's just gonna just F off.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I gotta say the dragon flying off really ended a lot of questions I had too because I was like, when they kill Danny, what are they gonna do about Drogon? But the answer is just leave.
He's just gonna
Nothing.
dragon.
Yeah,
Just nothing.
Yeah.
Apparently, and then so apparently, yes, dragons are intelligent as they foreshadowed in the show, and so Drogon gets a fit of anger and rage, and I guess he just knows that Jon is Targaryen and doesn't want to harm him or can't harm him. Don't know what the rules are. They haven't really established that. Or knows that he wasn't in the wrong and then just decides to melt the Iron Throne out of rage. Or whether he knows that that's what corrupted Dany. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that dragons love symbolism.
Everyone knows that. They understand irony.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like really complicated because would Jon have burned?
That's what I was wondering too, because
I
he's
don't know.
Targaryen. Well,
Some are, but some aren't.
some are, but because Viserys was definitely not fireproof.
What I would have loved would have been like, you know, Drogon and the Unsullied show up. You know, Grey Worm and maybe 4 or 5 other, you know, the guard, and then Drogon just just burns
rage
Jon
burn.
Snow. But then the fire goes away and Jon Snow's just like there, and then he kills the other guys.
Just
you know what I
real
mean?
naked.
Yeah, yeah. And in the show with some naked Jon Snow, everyone
Yeah.
would have loved that.
Then he climbs on Drogon
Yeah.
naked. And just,
Drogon's
takes
just
down.
like, whoa, dude.
Hey man,
I gave him the best shot.
boundaries, like,
Yeah.
there's some things that aren't okay.
Yeah, I thought that would have been awesome.
I think they're kind of suggesting, though, and we talked a little bit about this, there seems to be a suggestion that dragons are just way more intelligent than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
That they have some, idea of what symbolism is, which is a really high brain function.
Yeah.
That's like a high tier of thinking.
Some high school kids don't understand symbolism.
It's true.
You don't gotta
have
tell
to
me.
explain how to kill a mockingbird.
But I thought that was kind of an interesting touch, and also for Drogon, like Daenerys is his mother.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he had a real dragon mom, and then but Daenerys was his mom.
Yeah, born
So
from him.
He just died,
Born from her.
or he just decided like, well, she's dead. I'm out of here.
They
I don't
arguably
need
had
to
the strongest bond.
fight with these humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care about any of these people. It's really sad. It's poor Drogon.
Yeah, he really got his heart broke.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I mean, it plays out okay. It's just like there could have been more. Like you really could have solved a lot of the problems if Jon faced the Unsullied. Then, in my ideal way of that scene playing out, like Jon does the same thing, stabs her, but he stabs her with Longclaw, and it's the whole Nissa Nissa thing like fulfilled. The freaking blade catches fire because he just stabbed the Heart of Fire, which was Dany. Drogon comes in. Drogon rage fires Jon. You find out Jon's also fireproof.
Yeah.
And then Jon leads against the Unsullied. Like either he
Yeah, we just have one more battle.
Yeah.
Just kill these Unsullied.
kill the Unsullied or he takes on Drogon and takes him down,
Yeah.
which would be awesome. But I don't know. If Jon had turned out fireproof, there would have been a backlash because there is that part in like season 1 where the White Walker comes back down from the wall and him and Jeor Mormont are attacked by it, and then Jon throws the torch at it and he's burned by the torch.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Good catch, Danny.
And then that's
Wow.
a part in the books too where like he's constantly stretching his hand because he has burns from that torch, and he talks about it in POV chapters and stuff. So he's not
Everybody's
fireproof.
just like,
but
okay, Jon, that was 6 months ago. You're still really milking this burn thing. now.
hurts.
The skin just gets so tight. Okay, so that's like the end technically.
That's the end of Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Then we fast forward, time jump, and then we're back in what do they call it? Dragon Pit.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a very similar looking scene to what we had last season when they were trying to convince Cersei about the.
It's like a summit.
Yeah, it's a little summit meeting.
When they do the unveiling of the White Walker Spring Collection.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have the lords and ladies of Westeros.
Whatever's left over.
Which at this point is mostly people related to the Starks.
Yeah.
Starks, the Tullys,
Yeah.
and the Aarons.
Yeah.
And-
Which I thought was really funny. Like, all of them are just bros.
Yeah.
Like, even Sam, he's like a family friend.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And then Grey Worm shows up. Presumably, they've just been like a militant power.
Yeah.
It's like a police state.
Yeah, police state. They have Tyrion with them, and they're willing to bargain. But Jon he's not going. He's staying. He's got to answer for justice.
Mm-hmm.
And now Grey Worm's Batman. So
Yeah. Yeah, they really... I could see Grey Worm falling into this role. It's just kind of sad because he had a lot of character development, and then, Missandei died. And I understand rage
Yeah.
and vengeance from all that. but it just kind of turns him one-dimensional. And I don't know. I don't see.
Well, he falls back to like what he knows, and what
Killing.
he knows is killing.
Yeah.
Like when he's slitting those guys' throats in the street, it's just like it looks like he's pulling weeds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like something you do.
It makes me wish that Grey Worm would have an extra story, though. I wonder what happens with Grey Worm next.
Goes to Noth, and he just like gardens. That's how he spends his retirement.
I got something to say about them going to Noth, because, okay, sorry, I have to do that. I have to be this guy. In the lore,
Oh, great.
about Noth. Okay, Noth is a peaceful people in an island in the Southern Sea.
Okay.
Okay,
That sounds like it's gonna be a wacky adventure.
right. They're a peaceful people, but they're constantly slave traded because they don't fight. So they, I don't know what race goes over there and takes them all the time. So I understand them going
The guys
to
that look like Egyptians.
probably. So I can understand them going there to be enforcers and also be in exile of some sort. What I don't understand is, or what they don't understand, and I don't think the story lore, if they're going to follow any of the lore about Noth, is that Noth is also like the Isle of Butterflies. But these butterflies are particular to the Noth people in that the Noth people, Nothians, whatever, I don't know what they're called, they grew up around these butterflies. And there's tons of them all over the island. So they're immune to this deadly toxin that they emit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, any person who's on the Isle of Noth for more than a day will just drop dead because of the toxin that they... Yeah. So, who knows
Grey
if they're
Worm doesn't
following...
know about it.
Yeah. Well, I guess they'll find that out when they get there.
I'd heard about the butterfly thing, which is funny because then Missandei probably wouldn't have ever been able to go back either.
Well, it's like a
Well,
genetic
she probably
thing.
has the she probably has like the gene.
Don't
know
you
what
have
I
to
mean?
like grow up around it if it's something that you build a
No,
tolerance?
I'm sure
of?
it's
Well,
like a
it's probably in the
genetic
genes,
predisposition.
I think it's
like
in their
diabetes
gene.
or
Yeah, 'cause-
alcoholism.
I mean, if you think about... Yeah, exactly. Like...
Well,
Resistance
I
to
don't
the
think you can
butterfly
have a-
kisses of death.
Can you have a genetic resistance to like a sickness or a toxin?
Yeah.
alcohol.
I guess that's
Yeah.
true. Alcohol's a good point.
That's... Yeah, because like a lot of isolated races in like the Pacific Islanders, I mean, they develop their own... It's like a race.
Yeah.
And then they have their own traits. They have their own physical traits, own blood traits, and everything. So I can understand like a what's the word, like a remote island like that having its own genome set or something.
But
I don't
instead
know.
of
I'm not
like
a scientist.
shooting bows and arrows at like the helicopter that gets too close, it's just got butterflies.
like a
that'll kill
bomb
it.
of butterflies.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm hoping they go into Sothorios more in the prequels or the spin-offs because there's a lot of cool stuff, man. Eastern Planetos is like where everything is cool. Like things really, they get crazy.
You know what's not cool? The name Planetos.
I don't know what it's called.
It automatically made me think Planetos Express.
That'd be a cool tie-in.
Yeah.
Where were we?
I'm pretty sure that's just that new Futurama ripoff. What is it? Disenchanted.
Disenchanted.
It's fun, but that's what it is.
It's a literal ripoff.
Yeah, his own work. Yeah, so we're in the scene now, and this is where, for me, the biggest missteps of the episode and maybe season are.
Series, probably.
Yeah, while we're at it, right?
Yeah.
So we have them all deciding that they need to pick a new king because Grey Worm needs justice served, but they have no leader.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of get how Grey Worm's going to, go along with this because he's not a decision maker himself and probably never has been. Although it is weird that you're picking these people who you aren't allies with to tell them to elect a ruler and then follow whatever that guy says.
Right.
You might as well just let Tyrion go. Like, why even negotiate?
Yeah.
Just give Tyrion back and leave. Because
Dude, you're just gonna go to Noth.
Yeah.
Just get out of here.
It really doesn't matter what penance. Yeah, like what trade are you gonna get if you're gonna exile yourself anyway?
They just want to know that Jon Snow is gonna die, and they're now King's Landing is surrounded by Northmen who are there to kill if Jon Snow is executed.
Yeah.
And then we get everyone to call a vote. Mm-hmm. The idea is brought up. Before this, Sam actually mentions like, hey, well, why don't we just have all the people vote? Like, why don't we all get together in democracy?
Yeah.
And they all just like laugh at him.
Yeah, they're like, this is an electoral college.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
We're going to have a king.
What are we gonna give the dogs a vote?
Yeah, I think that's what they said. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what they say. Which is kind of weird because Well, the melting of the Iron Throne made it seem like it was going to go that direction.
Yeah.
To melt the Iron Throne is like no one ruler anymore.
Yeah.
I think if they had gone with that, it would have been way too cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It would have been so cheesy. Oh, well, in the end, it turns out we needed friendship.
Yeah.
Like,
The journey was the reason.
Well, and then in the same scene, we get the whole little part of Edmure trying to step up to the plate.
That was great. And he is the first one, dude.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
it's so good. What
he's
an
like reading.
idiot.
He's like reading the room. He's like, okay, is anyone stepping up? Is anyone stepping up? I think it's really
He goes
sad.
on and
yeah.
on too.
Veteran of what is it? Veteran of the last 2 or 3 wars or something. It's like, dude, you've been locked in a box for 4 seasons. Get out of here, man.
He's such a putz.
He is, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
He didn't do a single thing correctly the entire show.
Nope. Constantly making
His
mistakes.
intro into
Yeah.
the show is him being scorned by Rob for not doing something correctly.
It's great. And Sansa just tells him, Uncle, sit down. Uncle, please sit down. And it's hilarious.
My favorite
man.
reaction is Arya's because she doesn't even say anything. She just looks at him and gives him a light little smile like, God, you're an idiot.
I love seeing grown-up Robin Aaron in this scene.
Yeah,
in this
that's
scene.
weird.
It is
He brought that
so
kid back
weird.
for one line.
Yeah, what did
Yeah.
he say? I.
I.
And then they have the whatever his name is, Prince of Dorne, who they haven't even said his name.
No, they don't need to.
Yeah, they're
who
just
cares?
Like, that's
Brown
that
He's
guy.
just the
yeah.
Prince of Dorne.
Yeah, the one kingdom to never have bent.
I feel like a lot of those people in that scene were just like, we're putting him in here so you all can't complain that we didn't show him. Like, here's Robin Aaron, you little brats. There he is.
What happened to Robin Aaron?
Yeah. What about Dorne? Well, there he is. Get out of here.
Check it out. There they are.
There he
And
is.
they
He's
literally
sitting
say
right
one line about the Prince of Dorne in like in episode 3 or something like that.
there. Oh,
right?
yeah, that's right.
They're just like,
there's a new Prince of Dorne.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's it. They're like, we laid the seed. There it is.
Yeah. Apparently that scene took 6 days to shoot.
What?
That scene?
That scene took 6 days to shoot. I wonder what took so long.
They kept getting too many water bottles in the
I
shots.
guess.
Oh my god.
We got to get rid of at least 6 bottles. I
Yeah.
can only see 2 or
Oh
3 of
my
them in the
gosh.
frame. There was the Sophie Turner, the one who plays Sansa. She was saying that that's the last scene they filmed, and that after every take, she would just start crying uncontrollably because she thought that was like the end. And then they'd be like, "Oh no, we got to get one more." So then she'd have to like,
Oh
You know what I mean?
man. Wow.
She's never been to the symphony. She
Uncle,
doesn't know
please
you're
sit.
supposed to like hold your applause.
Yeah, I
until
know,
know
right?
for
You
sure,
saw
know
that
what I mean?
production photo that leaked of them with Sansa just like hitting in the back, just like hitting her jewel in between takes.
yeah. And then Arya's got some like
She
sunglasses.
looked pretty
on.
cool, yeah.
Like, be professional. You're at work doing a thing. It's not time to be hitting your vape. You know
Well, you
what I
got
mean?
that
It's totally
dress. You know, what I mean?
professional.
There's got to be a ton of places to just like to hide that thing. It looks like there's a lot of pockets. Well, if it's a dress, probably no pockets.
Well, so essentially they're taking on this Kingsmoot or like electoral college kind of way of choosing because they don't want dynasty, and I'm guessing that's what the wheel is broken is. There's no more lineage that can be of a succession.
Yeah, because the king's sons will be, careless and ruthless.
Tyrants. And, yeah.
Let's get rid of that.
Yeah. So there's a whole reasoning. I mean, this is probably the dumbest, most lackluster speech I have ever heard Tyrion say when he's convincing us about Bran.
Oh, people need a story.
Yeah.
It's like he was tired of having to talk him his way out of his situations, and that's the best he could scrounge up.
It's like,
He's like, I really don't want to be doing this right now, but I guess I have to say something.
in an alternate take of the episode, I wish it had just stopped. He finished his words, and then there was just a silence, and then everyone's like, no. Like, no.
No.
No, that's
Not
a terrible
Bran.
idea.
And Sansa's the only one that's logical in this whole setting. She's
Well,
just
she
like,
hits him with the erectile dysfunction argument.
yeah, he can't have children. Yeah, like right away, too.
Which I guess is what they want. They don't want him to
Yeah.
have kids. This part makes no sense
It's
to me.
really, it's the dumbest. It is an ending, but it's...
It's weird. And I was telling Michelle, here's the biggest thing for me, why it definitely doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense from 2 directions. The first one is Bran himself. Bran has already said countless times, I am not Brandon Stark. I am the 3-eyed raven. He's like made this whole thing all this season about not being part of the family anymore, about not really being like a person. He's just
I'm a
an
tool.
entity. I am
Yeah.
3-eyed raven.
now. Yeah.
And for him to become king and accept it, doesn't seem like that matches what he's been saying this whole time. And then the other part of it, too, is that Bran could have been using his powers this whole time to help his family. And as a viewer, I've chalked it up to, well, he's a three-eyed raven.
He doesn't have that loyalty.
He's got to let things run its course. He can't use his knowledge to change the way the world works.
You're like a Nat Geo crew filming like an isolated island of people.
And he realized that because he's such a higher power. But essentially now he's taking control of the whole world.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what? Like, why didn't he talk to them before then?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, here's what Cersei's doing right now.
Just let this happen, yeah.
Hey guys, let's solve this thing.
He could have saved a lot of lives. He also could have not let his brother die. Rickon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
He let Rickon die. He let Mira... He just treated Mira like crap. He let Hodor die for nothing, apparently. So all of this... He could have just fixed a lot of these things.
Well, the Hodor thing, they could have just avoided that a long time ago. Because Hodor bought him literally 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He should have just ran.
Yeah, they wasn't going to do anything anyway.
It would have been more effective for Hodor to pick them up and carry them and run.
Would have been faster than Mira.
It would have been faster than what they were going. Whatever happened to Mira, too? We get no closure on that.
Get no closure
right?
on Mira. There's no Howland Reed payoff. Howland Reed is only in back... What's the word?
Howland
back
Reed?
flashes.
Who's Howland Reed again?
So he... flashbacks. So Howland Reed was... He's a bigger part of the whole Robert's Rebellion thing. He was Ned Stark's bannerman, but he was also his friend, and he knows Jon Snow's lineage.
He's the one who's there when they fight, what's that guy?
Sir Arthur Dayne.
Sir Arthur Dayne, that's
and
right.
Gerald Hightower.
Yeah.
And he should have played a bigger part in it. But yeah, no.
Well,
no Howland Reed.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know if they needed to bring that guy any kind of closure. He was in one flashback in the whole show, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And I just assumed he was okay, this guy fought and he's their dad.
He's old somewhere now.
A lot of the arguments about this too, and then it is something that I hadn't thought about until I heard other people talking about it. It was just you know what, this is right, is that it kind of just demeans Jon Snow's story.
Yeah.
What part did he play in any of it? And then also, what does his lineage mean? Nothing.
Well, his lineage is just to drive a spike between him and Daenerys.
Yeah.
The fact that she might murder him one day.
Yeah.
And it also, it changes things for Jon too because of his sense of honor and family and loyalty. Now he finds out, oh, I'm not even one of these people technically.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. I think, Jon ending up on the Iron Throne would have been very satisfying. But to be honest, I really like Jon's ending. I think it's a great ending for the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very in character for him.
Yeah.
It's very in character and it's what he wants and he's part of the North.
It's
it's like what Tormund told him, hey, you and I both know you want to be wild up there with us.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You've got it in you.
He's there's a lot of land out there now, boy.
But yeah, Bran, he's just shown no interest. And to drop that in, just it seemed like anyone else there would have been a better choice and would have gone over, with the fans better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than Bran. That's the big thing I really can't get behind.
It just feels like subversion for subversion's sake.
It's a lot of subversion.
Sorry. It's subversion for subversion's sake.
Yeah.
Because it's just to pull a fast one on us.
And that's what my friend was telling me earlier today. Just that's Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? We think it's going to be a story about Ned Stark. Nope. We think it's going to be about the eldest son getting vengeance. Nope. You know what I mean? They constantly just...
think it's about Dany?
No,
nope.
it's about the boy who fell out of a tower and became king.
And had the greatest story to tell ever.
No.
And his story is the worst.
His story's pretty uninteresting. Well, then I was dragged through the woods. And then I went north of the wall.
His story is basically
And then I hung out in a tree.
That part's cool. That's the only cool part.
It's like the hero's journey without him getting any really tangible necessary powers or using them.
Yeah.
So...
lame.
Bran is the worst character.
I think so. He's the least interesting. I mean, next to Rickon, out of all the Starks.
I will say nothing dramatic has ever really happened to Bran save for falling out of a tower, getting pushed out of the tower.
Yeah. Oh, well, then he did try and assassinated him after that.
Yeah, but he wasn't even awake.
Yeah. And then Theon did almost murder him.
Yeah.
But maybe he wouldn't have. I don't know. Who knows what Theon would have done if they were there?
I just think in comparison to the other Stark children, he's had
Yeah.
the easiest time, to be
I
honest.
think so too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He's the most sheltered of all of them.
Yeah, he had like 6 people like taking him and dragging him literally around everywhere while someone like guided him along the way. Yeah.
This actually kind of sounds like how you make a king, though, the more that I think.
Yeah.
Well, for me, on paper, it makes sense. And a lot of this we've already like said to each other already. But Bran knowing everything makes sense for him to be king.
Yeah.
Because he can rule with just absolute clarity.
Yeah.
But the issue is that it's from the storytelling perspective of it. That they've set up all this other stuff. And that Bran, not only is he the worst actor on the show.
Yeah, he's a terrible
but
actor.
he's just uninteresting.
Yeah.
There's nothing to grab on. So.
And his story, it was written, like a decade or two ago when maybe it was a fresh idea, but we've seen so many stories like Bran that's just like, you know what I mean? Meeting with an old, this kid loses, it's like gaining these new powers. Like I'm saying, it's like the hero's journey, but like that didn't really pay off. Like you don't get to see,
Him really use his powers in some ultimate battle at the
and
end.
it's just very cliche. Like his part of the story is like super cliche. And you would think it had a bigger purpose with the Long Night. Nope.
And we never understand what he was working.
his
He was
ultimate
bait.
purpose.
What he was working into. Like there was a point where he took over the crows and flew next to the Night King. And
That's
then we don't know what else happens.
And you would think it paid off in the last episode. No.
No.
Bran the Bait turns into Bran the Broken.
Yeah. Which also rough name.
Yeah. Really rough name. I know that it's like a callback to the books where he calls himself Bran the Broken, like kind of with self-pity.
That's his emo MySpace name?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we couldn't have gone with like Bran the Beyonder or something. You know what I mean?
Bran the Builder would have been sweet because then it's more
Bran the Builder.
Yeah.
Can he fix it?
Yes, he can.
Well, if someone helps him. 'cause
If
his
someone
voice won't
helps
work.
him.
He can
Logistically,
delegate.
no.
Yeah.
If you get me close to it, I can use a screwdriver.
Borg into some giants.
Well, from here, we're kind of like really wrapping it down. We get another time jump.
Sansa becomes queen.
Sansa's Queen of the North.
Which is another
Let's
thing.
just, let's just
in
go
the
down
North.
these. Yeah, at that negotiation, Sansa says, hey, we're our own independent kingdom. Asking her little brother to give them freedom. I was like, wow, this is nepotism.
That's what I was saying.
I was like, wow, so the Starks get everything they want.
And
okay,
yet,
great.
Yara Greyjoy, who is in open defiance
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what's going on, says nothing.
Well, you would think that she would have been like,
Screw you guys.
I'm out.
Yeah.
But no.
No? She just gets one line of dialogue.
Well, the other thing, too, is like, what shape are the Greyjoys in now? Do they have an army?
They have no Theon, they have no Euron.
Well, maybe
they have
Yara
no
in the
fleet.
middle of it was like, well, I did have to promise Dany that I would stop pillaging.
That's true.
And I do really miss pillaging. Maybe this kind of worked out for me. We're just going to
Maybe.
hit the boats.
Yeah.
Who was she with? Oh, she was on the side of the Martells because they're kind of still in an alliance, I think, is what it seems like. I think she was sitting next to the... I don't know if he's a Martell. But
No, the guy from... he had Robin and that other old dude
Jon Royce?
between them. Yeah.
Was that was the side that Yara was
Yeah,
on?
well, no, Yara was like sitting... There's like the center row, the 2 outliers on the left, and then the 3 outliers on the right.
One of them's House Aaron.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think Yara's over here with the Dorne guy.
No, the Dorne's sitting over here with House Aaron.
Oh.
Yeah, he's off to the
weird.
corner.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally the last person in the row. Like, yeah, don't even worry about him.
Yeah.
Don't,
Just
don't even
put him
ask
in
questions
frame,
about
but
him.
Not important. Not important.
All right, so what do you guys want me to do? Oh, at one point you're going to say I, and then at one point I kind of want you to lean to the side a little bit. Like, you don't really care that you're here.
Your
Yeah.
paycheck's on the way out. It's just over there.
Thanks for coming.
Imagine landing that extra job. Like, I
Yeah,
think
he was
I got a call
essentially
back.
a featured extra. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I want to see his credit. It probably just says Prince of Dorne. That's it.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know
I
what I
wonder
mean?
if he's got a credit to his name. If only there was some device I could use to find that.
I will say, though, this whole the North remains unbent is just, it's kind of dumb because then it opens the door for other kingdoms to secede. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, where do we go from here? So now it's still 6 kingdoms.
Well, yeah, because technically weren't all the kingdoms independent? It wasn't for thousands of years?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the only thing that brought them together was fire and blood.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that'll do it.
Yeah. And now I guess it's the thing that broke them apart. Good writing, Double D's. I'm not mad.
so what? Anything else about the Sansa ending? I mean, she's just... It just seems like she got what she wanted. She just seems like such a self-centered character, and I don't know if she ever really got past that. Yeah. It seemed like it was gone for a while, and then when Danny shows up, she's just like all, who's her? Are you sure about this? It's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But what about the North?
You are right, but
yeah, Sansa. I mean, I don't know.
Toby Osmond, he plays Dornish Prince.
Dornish Prince.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Hilarious. Wow. Okay, so then we also get Arya's.
Yes.
And she takes off on a boat. She says, what's west of Westeros? I'm going to go find out.
I'm okay with that.
That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one made sense to me.
Makes a ton of sense for the character. Mm-hmm. Seems very spin-off likely.
Mm-hmm. Which would be tight if she was down. I don't know if she was down, but that would be awesome. Because then you get to see if the planet is round and she just ends up in Essos, or if there's like an America out there or something.
Yeah, the new world.
Yeah. Could be cool. I mean, I think her ending, she arguably has the most satisfying arc in the whole story out of all of the Stark children.
And then she's like a favorite character for that exact reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
a compelling story.
Yeah, my only gripe with Arya in this season is that she didn't use face swapping at all the entire season. At all.
Yeah, I guess she didn't. Did she use it?
Maybe she doesn't have Snapchat installed on her phone.
Since she got back to Winterfell, did she use it at all?
Not since she got back to because then she just killed the Freys and then she went to Winterfell.
Yeah.
That's the last time she's used the faces.
Weird. You think it would have come into play more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there was a whole 2 seasons of development in getting those powers.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And such a incredible power that no one else has anything close to.
And which they could have saved millions of lives in just sneaking into King's Landing.
I mean, she already saved millions of lives. Like, how many times do you want her to save millions of lives in a week?
And to be fair, she was going to do that, presumably.
Yeah.
That was the point.
They should have.
But Dany she went too hard, too fast. And burned a bunch of people alive. So
I feel bad for the Go Hard Dany fans, man.
Well, right. Or people who name their kid Daenerys. There's also the council scene where Tyrion has been made hand of the king again.
Yeah.
Bronze Master of Coin.
Yeah.
It's like the ending of the Lord of the Rings, essentially.
It's very Lord of the Rings. This last episode is super Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Sam is Grand Maester.
Mm-hmm. Not earned. I like that he's Grand Maester, but I don't think it's earned just because he was friends with them. And he helped them with the Long Night. I understand that. But Sam never finished his maesterhood.
Nope.
Sam doesn't have anywhere near the links that it takes to become a Grand Maester.
Yeah, he only had like 2 or something.
Yeah, and even dumb Grandmaster Pycelle had like 20 links or something like that.
Well, but in his defense, he is the first like maester to cure what do they call it? Grayscale.
Yeah,
I guess
in
it's
a
true.
long time.
That's one
in
of
a
the
long
links.
time.
This
is
my Grayscale link.
Yeah, so he has a healing link.
He was the only one who took the time to read the manual and then follow the directions.
I love that line.
That is kind of embarrassing.
Like, I just read the directions.
But then you get that super cheese fest, like dropping the tome of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. So we get the good old. We wrote a book about what you just watched.
Didn't think they were gonna do that.
And then they put in that Tyrion's not even in the book.
They left him out.
They left him out.
I get it. It's kind of angering because it's like he still like was pretty essential in the whole role.
Yeah.
Like there was the battle.
Like
of
whether he
Bay.
made good decisions or not, like he definitely kept that.
People
whole
knew
thing
who he
going
was.
along.
Yeah. Like,
and it kind of lends itself to the way that we like tell stories, and if there's a hero, we write these other little characters out if they need to be. Even though Tyrion was a part of so many of the different stories in so many different places.
Yeah.
He traveled a lot. Like
was
compared to some of the other characters.
Yeah.
Tyrion ends up
3
like
times.
the
3
guides
times.
who helped Lewis and Clark like map everything out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. The whole storybook ending was. I thought they were gonna do it, but I didn't think it was gonna be so on the nose and just like so.
There's only one way to do the old storybook ending. You got to put it right on the nose. Here it is. This is what you just watched.
Yeah. I think
It's almost surprising they didn't do the last shot of like Tyrion.
It was
Supposed to
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Credits.
Reading to his children.
Yeah.
The end.
I liked it. I liked that it was
A little boy and a little girl named Jamie and Cersei.
That's legitimately Lord of the Rings, though, right?
That is Lord of the Rings. Well,
that is how Lord of the Rings ends.
because who's writing it? Bilbo, right?
Bilbo's
he writes
writing
there
it.
and back again, but
Yeah,
that's the Hobbit. That's the Hobbit.
That's the Hobbit.
Do they end with is someone writing the Lord of the Rings?
I don't know if it is in the Hobbit. I'm getting it confused. Yeah,
I
Lord of the
forget
Rings
how
starts
the Lord
with
of the
him
Rings
writing.
ends because Return of the King had like 7 endings.
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, Aragorn's just king, and all was good.
Which would have been the ending if Jon Snow had won.
True.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Exactly like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Even if Sansa had been on the throne, it would have been more satisfying.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I would have been okay with that.
Sansa would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
North
agree.
would have been like, oh, dope.
Yeah, because now
super
we're
cool.
all in the
Oh,
fold.
It's a good one. It's a good
We're
one.
all on the same page. Everyone likes Sansa. Cool. Let's do
Yeah.
it. She's an apt ruler. But nope.
No.
Um,
I don't get anything like that.
so we're at the council, which is, okay, let's talk about the logistics of this council. Okay, yes, Bronn is Tyrion's friend. Does he deserve to be Master of Coin?
That's a good question. Well, he is Lord of Highgarden.
He is Lord of
and
Highgarden.
that part is not negotiable.
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah, he's definitely Lord of Highgarden.
I don't know.
Just kind of heavy-handed. Just
A little bit.
Yeah.
But you got to give him a job, or else everyone would have been like, "Where's Bronn?"
Now, I could have
They
seen
didn't
him more
wrap
as
it
the
up.
Master of War, which they needed. So they just didn't have a Master of War. They didn't have a Master of Whispers.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a Master of Law, I think. And I guess, like, out of all of them...
Nor a master of puppets.
I think that Bronn would have serviced as Master of War better because he's had more experience in war. And
That's
he was like
true.
a general in the Lannister army.
And who would be Master of War at this point?
There was no one with war experience on that
Yeah.
council, I think.
I mean, Brienne of Tarth, but she's barely been in war, really.
Yeah, well, she's the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, too,
Yeah.
which is great.
I'm just trying to
This
think
is where
of
she
who I
needed
would
to be.
pick.
Right? Just bring Jon Snow back. That's what you'd have to do.
Man, I loved the scene of Brienne with the White Book, with the Book of
Oh,
Deeds.
yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really good. I
Yeah.
thought that was good because I was like, oh, they're not going to show us what she wrote, like a Lost in Translation kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I love it. I love they showed us bit by bit, and there's like still frames on the internet for those who are curious about it. You can read everything she does, and it's good. She's still very honorable and.
It's like she finally, like, they have the scene when they're both like captors together, and Jamie like tells her like, do you, look, like, listen, like, think about it for a second. Do you have any idea what it's like to be me? Like, I realized this guy was gonna kill everybody, so I saved the world, and everybody hated me for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And she kind of just like fixes that for him in the end.
Yeah.
I love it. And then at the end, she like the part that's making her choke up so much is like he died protecting his queen, and it's like, okay, that's very sweet, even though she
Yeah.
hates her.
Yeah, for reals.
Who else is on that council? We got
Onion Knight.
Master of Ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apt.
And that's it. It's just them, isn't it?
You've got Bronn's there, Master of Coin. Davos is Master of Ships. They don't need a Master of Whispers because they got Bran.
That's a good point.
True.
God, who else is on that council? I feel like there's one person we're not thinking
Well, Sam's
of.
in there, and then
Sam, Grand Maester.
Brienne's the master of doing wheelies while they're going down the hall.
Pod is a knight.
Oh, and
yeah,
Pod's a knight,
Sir Pod.
Pod's
Yeah.
in there.
which is a nice ending for Pod too.
And then Tyrion's just the hand. Huh. What? And then is that how it closes? No, we close to Jon, right?
Yeah, we close to
Closes
John
to
walking
Jon.
off.
Which was really nice ending.
Nice ending. They also don't tell you, context-wise, what the Night's Watch is or what it's doing.
Yeah, at this point.
Well, they tell you that it's a punishment now.
Okay, it's like exile.
Yeah, he's like,
'Cause
yeah,
we
we
still
still
need
have to
somewhere
send-
to send the murderers and the rapists and
Yeah.
everything. So that's what the Night's Watch will be. John shows up. Tormund's there. Ghost is there.
Gets the pats.
He gives that dog a good old pat on the snoot.
Ghost should have bit him.
That was yeah. You,
Like, here's a bite. Now you can rub me.
yeah,
right.
that was one of the few moments of that episode where I was just like, okay,
And they got Ghost nice and big when he's running off at
that's
the
true.
end.
Yeah.
That's true. What about that hole in the wall?
Hole in the wall.
Who's gonna fix that? Are they gonna fix it?
Nah, it's just a pass now.
Oh, well.
There ain't nothing to
it's-
keep out
It's
anymore.
like, does it need to even really happen now?
Yeah, I guess the
Because
free
of-
folk have been accepted into the north.
Yeah.
But now
Which,
they're
you
going
know,
back.
inevitably people will forget about it and then be
War will
racist
start again.
You know what I mean?
War will begin.
That's all it is, xenophobia. I was checking that scene out. It's just those 4 people at that council table. The cool thing about the John one is that the shots are literally like the opening shots of the first episode, with the people riding out, like especially when it's just Tormund and Jon at the front. It's like those riders riding out of the gate, and then they're like going into the woods and everything.
The haunted forest.
But at the beginning of the show, we're just faced with like danger and unknown, and at the end of the show, it's just like freedom and like peace. Because Jon has just won, everything that he's wanted. He's never got to make a decision for himself.
Yeah.
Everything since the first episode, he's been told that he's going to be in the Night's Watch, and now he's going to be, and for no reason compared to the other people who are there.
Yeah. He wants to be in the Night's Watch, to follow Bingen.
And because he doesn't like, the way his life is at home. So Jon finally gets to just relax. Doesn't have to worry about serving.
Gets to range.
He can just be out there on his own.
And I'm guessing he's escorting the free folk back to the north so that he can come back to the wall.
I'm thinking he's just leaving.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to stay out there.
When he looks back at that gate closing,
it's kind of divisive because I think that would go against his honor because he's already sworn again to the Night's Watch.
I think at this point he might just be like, yeah, my honor's just twisted.
Yeah.
My honor's made me do some bad
He might be
things.
done. You know what I mean?
We can see. I mean, I don't know. Philosophically, I don't think he would do that because if that was the case and the Unsullied left, then he wouldn't need to fulfill his promise anyway and just do what he wants.
Well, that's true, but he wants to at this point.
He wants to be up there.
He doesn't want to go be at Winterfell and be pushed into,
It's like, man, they're going
King
to
of
make
the
me rule
North.
something.
Yeah, they're going to ask me to fight this battle. They're going to ask me to lead these soldiers or whatever.
And it's a perfect fit for him to be out with the wildlings because it's the people who don't want to be ruled by anybody.
Yeah.
It's
He's
they're
like
not gonna ask me to
the
do
he's the new
nothing.
Mance Raider, essentially.
Yeah, he might be. Or maybe not even that. Maybe
Yeah.
he's like, nah, go talk to Tormund. I'm just going to hang out with my dog. I'm going to go shoot some rabbits. I'm going to have a good time. I don't know. I really like the Jon ending. It's so warm and fuzzy.
I liked.
If he had been on the Iron Throne, he would have hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been a cool ending, though. You know what I mean? Him like 10 years later of him just like, just,
Like Married with Children.
Yeah. Where like he turns into Robert Baratheon because he's just drowning in his sorrows. He like hates it.
Oh, you understand old Baratheon a little
And
bit
the wheel
better.
They
keeps
just do
going.
like a fat Thor, but it's fat John.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
That's good.
Well, all in all, I mean, just a really okay. Wait, we have to give our thoughts. Let's give one word each to describe our feeling at the close of the series finale.
Of the whole show?
No, of the series finale.
Of the series finale.
Let's just talk about the finale, and I guess season 8 as a whole. Like, if you can sum it up in one word after seeing the entirety of it.
Okay.
Why don't you go?
Let's have
Oh,
Frank
only
go first.
only have Frank go first.
I'm going to go with wet-fart.
Counts as one word.
That doesn't really, but okay. You can't just add a hyphen and then just say whatever you want.
But I did.
Frank hyphen that hyphen is hyphen.
You know what? If it makes you feel any
Really
better,
dumb.
just don't pay me for this episode.
Okay.
I'll take it out of
The
your
Frank
check.
switcheroo.
I'll take it out of his check.
Is it me next?
Yeah.
Underwhelmed.
In that tense, you'd really want to use underwhelmed. No, I was joking. Yeah.
Nah, it's a bad answer, David.
Yeah,
Just yeah.
that's fine.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. How about we give a grade?
A grade. I have a moral obligation against grading. I don't grade anything in life.
Weird.
That's unfortunate for your students.
Yeah.
I just give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
You just sit on your throne at the top of the class.
You better hope I don't give you the thumbs down.
the
You
kids
just
are like,
look at the rest of the class while you do it. Yeah.
Pass. Better luck next year.
I guess this one can be the series overall.
The series overall.
That's a grade.
The whole thing. Oh, an A.
Yeah, the whole thing, I'd have to give it an A.
Yeah.
You don't stick the landing, but how many shows don't stick the landing?
Even the last season, I would give a high B.
The ending didn't ruin the series for me as bad as Dexter did.
Oh, man.
Dexter really left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it made me really hate the whole thing.
I don't even dislike the finale. The only thing I don't like and can't understand is the Bran thing.
Yeah.
Everyone else's ending I'm okay with. Like, John's I think is great. Arya's great. Sansa, I don't really like Sansa. I haven't this whole time. But the Bran
Danny
thing
even
just
died, right?
comes out of nowhere. The Danny thing I'm totally okay with. And I love how people are just losing their minds about it.
Yeah. I think it's great. It's
Yeah.
a great subversion. I think it's awesome.
There you go. It was there the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably give B-.
I'm in the B camp. I would say, like, I mean, I was obsessed with this show, and I think as of season 5 kind of brought it down for me, but season 6 really brought it up, because season 6 is an awesome season. It's an amazing season. Season 7's okay. It's just got that one episode of the Dragon Battle for me, which is great. The end of it, The Winds of Winter, is a great episode too. Season 8, overhaul, like, I was iffy with season 8, so I would just say like a solid B, because the seasons 1 through 4 is just a masterpiece.
Yeah, there's some really great stuff.
Yeah,
it's just incredible
right at
to
the
me.
Beginning.
Overall, this is one of my favorite shows of all time.
I realized right now while we're talking about this that the bet that we had, the paper is on my phone, which is recording.
That's
So I don't know if we're even gonna be able to.
We might just have to hit up a follow-up video on that.
That sounds lame.
Because we, unfortunately, I do have to be a little bit of time cop here, because we're into the second hour of this already.
Oh wow!
We still got to
really?
get into some stuff.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, time really flew by. We were talking about really just this like one episode.
Oh,
you know
that's
what I mean?
good.
I wish I had the picture of the.
Well, you know, I can just say as far as the bet goes that we were both very wrong.
Yeah,
But a lot of us were very wrong.
Both our
a
Iron
lot of
Throne
people around
things
the
were wrong.
world were very
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, did
You know what I mean?
anyone? No one predicted Bran out of us.
No, I mean, who
Yeah.
would have predicted
Why
that?
would you predict Bran?
All right, well, is there something else we wanted to talk about? What do we have planned? Should we just not? Oh, that's interesting this week. Is that too rude? I know you were working on it, but
What's your?
I mean, we could skip it if you want.
is it great? I don't know what's going on.
It's pretty good.
I'm always down to
I'm
be
down.
interested.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's time for
Any other? Wait, just before we get out of here. Any other final thoughts
weren't
for
we
Game
gonna-
of Thrones?
Oh, that's after.
Anything else? Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to say? Leave it all on the table.
Still gonna read the books. I mean, I'm on book 4.
Spoiler alert: they'll never finish.
Probably.
You know, my only message about Game of Thrones is this: for the overwhelming amount of people who just hate the finale, but then are also like, I can't wait for the prequels or whatever. It's like, what do you all think's gonna happen?
Yeah.
That the 2 seasons that Game of Thrones didn't have a book to go by, that you hated those, but the thing that they're gonna dream up all on their own with like cliff notes from George R.R. Martin, you think that's gonna be good?
Yeah, I'm a little worried.
I don't know. I think Game of Thrones is gonna get dragged through the mud a little bit, and I hope that they just stop now. Just stop now. Give
Just
us
let some
one.
things die. It's gonna be like the Mayans.
Give us one spin-off, but instead they've called for 5, and
There's
3 of
three that
them
are in
are
production.
in production. It's
That's
like
crazy.
it's too much.
Much too much.
But
I can only hope.
right,
Well, it is what it is at this point.
it is what it is. It is known.
Well, gentlemen,
Boom, boom,
I
boom,
think
boom.
that will bring us time to. Oh, that's interesting. And I believe it is my turn this week. And I know this for a fact because we talked about it earlier, and I'm the only
know it
one who's
for a
prepared
fact?
one. Yeah, I know for a fact. And I have a nice little topic for you guys. It's really nice. I have to thank Michelle for this one. She gifted me with it when she came in to help set up today.
Hit it with us.
So thank you, Michelle. So this was, I'm taking most of this info from the austentimes.com, I'm pretty sure. It's like a decent source. Are we good? We're good to go.
Cool.
We're still
Sorry, I
rolling.
just
Thank you,
wanted, I
David.
was concerned about that one.
Yeah, right. I thought you were about to give us some bad news. But this article was published last week, almost a week ago today.
Okay.
And this is about a new bill that was proposed in the Texas House by Representative Jessica Farrar. And yeah, I can tell from the smile, you know exactly what's going on. So she put forth a bill on the final day of legislative filing that would penalize men for unregulated masturbatory emissions.
That's a great word.
Eesh.
Yeah.
Penalized them.
Penalized. Penal code.
Penalized the men for emissions.
Get ready, y'all.
A regulatory. What is it again? Read that one more time. I gotta hear the wording one more time.
Penalized for unregulated masturbatory emissions.
Wow. Wait, so does that even also mean night ejaculation?
If you...
What do you mean by night ejaculation?
What's it called? Night emissions. Night emissions.
Night emissions.
Oh, you mean like a
wet dream.
wet dream? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was like, what are you talking about? I got scared.
Ejaculations.
We're talking about ejaculating, David. That's what we're going to be talking
No,
about.
I've gotten up. I'm here. I got to change the
I
camera.
meant to give like a warning before we started, but at this point it's too late already. Like if there's a kid in the room listening, you've already like turned it off.
Make 'em leave.
And you're not going to hear this apology, but I apologize. And I'm not even that sorry, to be honest. So yeah, the bill's called HB 4260. And any man, I'm going to read this direct quote from the Austin Times because it's just well worded, you know. Any man who beats off outside of the care of medical professionals or otherwise ejaculates outside of a woman's vagina would face $100 penalty for each emission, and the private deed would be considered an act against an unborn child and failing to preserve the sanctity of life. Yeah.
Wow.
Heavy, right? Think about that the next time you're doing an old self-service. So
It's metal.
they're in the bill, it would go into effect like before seeking a vasectomy, Viagra prescription, or colonoscopy, men would have to undergo a digital rectal exam and MRI. The procedures could be performed 24 hours after initial consultation, similar to the state law requiring the abortion-seeking women to undergo an invasive transvaginal sonogram and wait 24 hours before their abortion procedure. Additionally, and a lot of this just mirrors the laws we have against women's reproductive health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the whole point of this bill. It's a little bit tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
But it's nice that somebody did something, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. It's calling attention to what's actually happening.
Yeah, men would also have to be given a men's right to know pamphlet, similar to the men's right to know Texas doctors are required to give women before they receive an abortion. And those basically just give you, I mean, they're like it's all
like
the
the
same
smoking
information
thing,
you
huh?
got in your youth group when you had to do like the sex talk, you know what I mean? It shows you all the different fetuses.
It's like I don't know if you've ever bought cigarettes in other countries, but I've bought cigarettes in Mexico.
Like in Mexico,
and they
yeah.
have like pictures of, pretty explicit visceral pictures like
Yeah.
on the packaging, which I think they should do here. But tobacco industries will not let that happen.
No.
But I think it's great.
That's what happens when you have lobbyists.
Yeah.
So let's see. I have some other stuff here for us that I want to hit before we get into full discussion of this.
Hit it, Frank.
Let's see.
Hit it.
Yeah, Farrar's bill also aims to ensure that a doctor has the right to invoke their personal, moralistic, or religious beliefs in refusing to perform vasectomy or colonoscopy or write a Viagra prescription. And that's very similar to laws already on the books where doctors can withhold information about the state of a fetus without any repercussions of getting a malpractice suit.
Yeah.
If they consider it'll make the woman consider it an abortion, which is crazy.
That's
you know what
ridiculous.
I mean? Like it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Let's see. And so masturbatory emissions would only be allowed in a sterile, like clinical setting, and they would be stored for the purposes of conception for a current or future wife. So not putting any of that stuff to waste. Don't you waste none of those unborn babies. Don't be wasting them.
There's a lot of value on gunk.
Yeah, apparently. I've been undervaluing this stuff this whole time.
Wow.
The fines would be in okay, yeah, this is another one that I should read direct quote because I mean I wish I would have credited the author. They did some good work. The fines incurred by rogue seamen, on the other hand, would go towards aiding children in the Department of Family Protective Services in order to protect the sanctity of life, an oft-used defense of cruel anti-choice bills by mostly white male conservative legislators. So yeah, man. They would bank
That's
that
hilarious.
stuff forever, and you'd have to pay for the unwanted children already.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Which is really more productive than any of the like anti-women's health stuff that's on the books. You know what I mean? They're not doing anything good with that.
Yeah, that's true. There's no database being made.
No?
A library of people. Ugh,
Yeah, really.
it's gross.
Yeah.
Can
A
I send
library
it in?
of sexual congress.
Can I send my gunk in to
No,
get
it has to
away
be done
from
in a
fines?
medical setting, man. You're
Darn.
not a doctor.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see what they mean by medical setting. Maybe if I go in like a dentist's office and do it.
No, dude. You don't know.
just-
You don't know anything about your own health. You need a doctor to do it all for you.
Dang it.
Yeah.
I think you just make decisions about
Can't
your
be
body.
getting unregulated, man.
Man.
It's not
Like
gonna
it's
work
your
out.
body. Don't
Yeah.
be ridiculous.
Bummer. I'm already mad.
Well,
So yeah, obviously there's a bunch of like Texans who are like, "There's a war against men."
There's war on man.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they just don't get it, and
No,
they're
they
the
don't
kind
get
of
it at
person
all.
who will never get it.
Never ever get it.
That's
Never gonna
great.
Get it.
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I think it's a good call.
What a good way to stick it to the man.
Yeah, real stick it to the man.
Sticky it to the man.
I mean, I feel like we could get into talking abortion right now. It'd probably just be very, very heavy.
Long-winded argument, yeah.
But the point of this is, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, that's dumb, blah, 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 blah. The point of it is it's supposed to be dumb.
Yeah.
And the point of it is that if you were to take a second and look at it from another perspective.
That's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's
Yeah.
supposed to give you some perspective.
Yeah, but people don't want perspective,
No,
man.
they hate it.
They hate perspective. What's that? Is that a foreign word?
If they wanted perspective, they could just talk to someone and find their perspective.
Yeah.
But no.
Which is the other thing, too. I mean, most people, they just don't know the people that they're talking about. And you meet someone, then you're like, oh.
Weird. I never thought about things
Wow,
that
they're
way.
just like me.
Oh,
It's
we're
almost
really
as
not
if
that
talking to other people gives me another point of view.
different. Yeah, it's ridiculous. How unfortunate. Well, man.
That was interesting.
It was very interesting.
Sign of the times.
It's just also made me like kind of sad because we're not in a good direction right now with like serious legislation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is a good
The fact that these...
this is a good move. I think it's a
It's
funny
like-
one.
It highlights like how important meme culture has become. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's a very like troll move.
You're right though. It is. It's like a political meme.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What a weird place. And you heard about I don't even remember his name. He's not an attorney general. It's someone in the Trump
like a justice
administration.
or something. Or...
He didn't show up to a hearing. And the people that were going to question him, the Democrats, they brought in one of the guys brought in a bucket of chicken and was just eating chicken because this guy didn't show up. It's like, what world are we living in right now? This is
Strange things are happening.
Yeah, it's really strange, man. That is very interesting, Frank. Thank you for
That is
sharing
very
that.
interesting.
We'll have to thank Michelle right
Yeah,
now.
well, thank Michelle. I did very little preparation for this.
Well, gentlemen, here we are once again at the end of this road.
The King's
And
Road.
we need to pick. We have a special extra 3, I'm sorry, Peeps, and we're gonna get Game of Thrones themed. On
I feel
Peeps
like
and
you should
Predicts.
choose, Danny. You really are the master of Game of Thrones,
There you go.
like in this little
On this
setting
council?
Mm-hmm.
This council does not... You are allowed to
Master
sit on the
of
council.
lore.
We do not. All right, let's... Oh, oops. I lost it.
Pick a good one
It's
though.
going to be this
That's
one.
it. It's the same one. That's
Is it?
hilarious.
Oh, cool. All right, let's open it up. It is not the one I put in. This one is Ned Stark versus Boromir. That'll count. That's a good old Frank switcheroo over there. But that is you.
It is me. Yeah, you can tell because the handwriting's terrible.
I like it. I like
Yeah,
the
so
style.
I was like, okay, how do we even this out? I was going to go Jon Snow versus Aragorn, but it just would have been too easy because Aragorn actually becomes king.
He actually wins.
Frank, what do you got for us, man?
So our first predict: who would make a better president? Yeah.
Wow. Oh, well, this is easy.
Ned
And
Stark.
you know what? Yeah. The problem is that Ned Stark is a way better character than Boromir is.
He's not corrupted by evil also.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, Boromir is a nice guy. Yeah, it's the ring that turns him.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't get too rough on him because every man was affected.
Yeah.
By
I
the
would
ring.
say
He
against
is-
Ned Stark, he loses his head kind of easily.
Wow.
Sorry.
Hey, man, someone might not have watched Game of Thrones.
Spoiler.
Ned Stark gets his head chopped off.
Season
Oops.
1, episode 8.
Yeah.
Or 9.
10.
Is it 10? Is
Yeah.
it the
It
last?
seems like they're not going to do it, but they totally do it.
Yeah, for real.
I think it's the last scene. No, it's not. It's not the last scene. No, but I think it's the last episode.
I think so. Could be. So Ned Stark?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Ned Stark 100%.
Easy. Okay.
I feel like sometimes the first one's like really easy.
Right. And then the second one, we start talking about Captain Planet, and then who knows what happens.
Man, that was a good one.
I did have fun.
Who knows more good jokes?
Man, Ned Stark is not a humorous fella.
Neither of these guys seem particularly funny.
I would say I've seen Ned Stark throw a punch jab, like a punchline or two at Robert Baratheon.
True.
That's true. Like that whole thing with the...
Because they got the whole like war buddy thing going
Yeah,
on. You know what
he's
I mean?
like, you've gotten fat, and then Ned Stark does, it has subtle humor. He's very deadpan. He just
Yeah.
goes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. He does know how to work it.
I've never seen Boromir crack a joke.
Yeah, I've only
Who
seen
do you think
Boromir die.
spent more time in pubs?
Boromir.
I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boromir.
'Cause that's where you get some good snaps happening.
Probably at the Green Flagon. Was that the one it was called in Lord of the Rings that they're always at? That one pub? I think it's it's the Red Flagon or the Green Flagon or something like that.
And he just seemed like very friendly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He seems like a lighthearted kind of guy.
And seems like he was a noble, right?
Yeah.
His dad was a king of the whatever it's. God, I can't remember. I need Rowan was the king of Rowan,
Yeah.
right?
Rohan. Wow, it's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I really haven't watched
We need to hop in on the Lord of the Rings.
in like a good 5 years or so, I'd say. We should do a rewatch.
I'm going to be honest, guys. I think we should just skip this one, draw another. Or
I'm
just
down.
say draw.
Yeah.
I don't think either character are funny. And I don't even know if there's... I mean, I definitely don't know enough about Lord of the Rings to argue one way or the other.
I'm actually really glad Brandon's not here right now because he would just go on and
God.
on and on about it. And honestly, I spent too many hours of my life listening to Brandon talk about Lord of the Rings.
It's either him or Vinny.
Oh goodness.
It's both, right? Okay, let's see. Let's do a draw here. We had
This is the
a
sitch.
tie. This is it for all the marbles. Who would be a better Star Wars character?
Huh.
Is Sean Bean in Star Wars? No, right?
No.
He would die.
I
Both
feel
would
like
die.
Boromir would be the better Star Wars character. He's got a very Star Wars plot. You know what I mean? He started off as part of like the rebellion, and he ends up going to the dark side.
Yeah, tempted by the dark side.
Yeah.
No one's ever really gone.
No one's ever really
No
gone.
one's ever really gone.
But Ned Stark, gone.
Yeah, that guy's
Super gone. What would Ned Stark be like in Star Wars? Well, he'd be just like...
He'd be like Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Wait, that's Spider-Man.
I mean, well, no, there is an Uncle Ben.
No, it's Uncle Ben too in Star Wars.
It is.
Yeah.
If you're talking about Ben Kenobi, yeah.
No. Uncle Ben is Luke's uncle.
That's Uncle Owen.
Uncle Owen,
his
that's
Aunt
it.
Beru.
Not Uncle Ben.
That's Luke Wilson's brother's name, you idiot.
Wow.
That went all over the place. He would be like just a Jedi. He'd be like a Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah. Or he would die in the council room.
Yeah. Or in that Attack of the Clones
That's
scene.
what I was thinking when they kill them all.
Yeah.
Execute Order 66.
No, that's Revenge of the Sith. I mean, when they have the big gladiator fight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Coming up next. I kind of agree with Frank. I think Boromir has a better Star Wars arc.
Yeah. It's a very Star Wars
Yeah.
arc to me.
Yeah. I agree as well.
But
Fall
then that
from
just
grace.
means we have to go to another tiebreaker now. Because we're 1-1.
And now we got to go Bernie Boromir. No.
Well, no, because it's one Ned Stark, one Boromir, because we skipped over the last one.
We're going to run through it. Let's make sure we have enough. We only have 2 left.
Oh, man. Coming down to the wire.
Very interesting.
Oh, geez. Okay. Here, why don't you read this one, Danny? I was just going to read another one. Ooh, nice catch, man. I was ready to be like, well, I guess it's Boromir.
It's because you don't believe in grades.
This
or
is
scoring.
another David submission.
Let's calm down.
No, I really...
I'm just joking. Danny is struggling to read this right now.
Okay.
Here it is.
I'm going to skip the word I can't read, but who would blank a more outrageous piñata? Who would make?
Who would
make?
Oh, who would make
more
a more
piñata.
outrageous piñata?
Interesting.
We've got Ned Stark versus Boromir.
Yeah.
Ned Stark's just going to make a wolf.
Yeah,
Would he break his own house's sigil, though? Wouldn't it be like a dragon or something? And he'd crush it.
Seems a little pedantic for a man of high honor to do.
Or a big
He
boar.
would make a squid.
He did crush the Greyjoys.
Yeah. That'd be good.
And then Theon would just be there like...
I'm a Greyjoy.
I feel like this is a little bit insensitive, guys.
Boromir, what would he make a piñata of?
His friends.
God,
Yeah.
No.
This is like the weirdest 2 characters to think about.
weird
who would have a
situation.
piñata. I would know that like Ned Stark would be a better smasher of piñatas because of the giant sword.
Oh my goodness.
Huge.
It's true. I think even a bigger sword than Boromir carried.
Yeah. You know what? Ned Stark for the win, everyone. It is a Game of Thrones episode.
Okay.
He's the man.
I'm okay with that.
He has something to make the piñata of that we can tell from context.
If Game of Thrones doesn't need solid logic to progress their plot line, then we don't either.
I like that.
Dang. One more Game of
Hot take.
Thrones burn in there. Okay.
Got him.
So now we have Ned Stark against Bernie Sanders, everyone.
Man, this is a very
Bernie
hard
is
one.
our reigning champ. And here we go.
Both are high men of honor.
I'm glad you just said that. Who would make a better first date?
Huh.
Well, both would not try to get in your pants at the end of the night.
No, they would walk you to your doorstep with no intentions.
They would open your door.
Yeah. But they'd still pull it off, both of them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even ask for a kiss on the first date.
No, but they'd get it all.
They would shake your hand and say it was a pleasure. Have you heard about socialism?
That one's Ned Stark. Ooh. This is tough.
I would say
I'm
that
trying to
maybe
think of all
Bernie.
the interactions between Catelyn and Ned, but that's not a fair comparison of how somebody acts on a first date. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
Bernie's probably going to make you try and pay the date 50-50.
Equal.
Yeah.
I would say that if we're gonna use Ned Stark and Catelyn Stark as like a way to gauge his romanticism, I don't know if that's a way to do it because Catelyn was betrothed to Ned's brother before he died, and so they just kind of wound up together
Yeah.
and miraculously fell.
You got
in
the
love.
hand-me-down
Okay.
wife?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I have the defense. The defense. It is here. Here it is. Hope you like
I
it.
feel like you're still buying yourself time.
It's Bernie Sanders, and here's why. Because Ned Stark would have never dated anyone. Because he's a lord, and you just get married.
That's true.
So not only do they not even have a concept of a date, and if they do, it's like a lower-born idea.
Like a courtship. Yeah.
Ned Stark's going to be totally uncomfortable with that whole idea. He's just, hey, we're married. This is about duty and honor. Whatever.
Yeah, because it's not like he was off whoring when he was out to war, because that turned
Yeah.
out to be a big old lie.
Yeah.
It's about betrothal.
He's got bigger things to worry about.
True.
Bernie at least exists in a world, whether how romantic he is or not, we don't know. But we know he's a charming old man,
He is quite charming.
and he was probably a
A
charming
little
young
bird
man.
would come land on your table while
Yeah.
you're at dinner together.
It's like a freaking Pixar movie. Come on, that's adorable.
You know what, David? I'm in.
Oh yeah, I'm Team Bernie.
Here we go.
Feeling that burn.
Everyone,
The reigning champ still reigns.
every episode, Bernie Sanders, 2020,
I mean, I think
register to vote.
this just points out that
Not for peeps and predicts. You don't get a say in what we're
No.
doing here.
I think this just reaffirms that Bernie sits on the Iron Throne.
Whoa. What a great ending.
Yeah. That
Wow.
would be pretty tight. He would be a great ruler.
Yeah.
And that's how you end something.
What if at that council meeting it was just like, Sansa was like, I think I know somebody.
Dude, and it's like someone hooded comes up
Yeah.
from the steps.
All right, the problem here is the top 1% have had too much for too long.
What would House Sanders' sigil be? Would it be the bird?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right?
mean, it would be a little bird. That's great.
I think so. House Sanders.
And their house words would be "feel the burn."
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good. Yeah.
Yeah. Or not me, us. That's the campaign slogan.
Huge.
Huge. This is going to get so Bernie heavy, especially as we get closer. Oh, no.
Oh, it's gonna be like an issue.
It's going to be like everyone's going to be like, huh?
Yeah.
Well, unsubscribe.
Yeah. Yeah, next year we're going
It's gonna
hard
turn
politics.
like if we get some new
Yeah.
viewers, it's gonna turn some of them away immediately.
We're just not going to do any more movie stuff, any more music, video games, all politics here on out.
Yeah, I think we've
You heard
learned
it here
that there
first.
is no backlash from us trying to get political at all.
No. And if there is a backlash, you know what? I don't like you.
Yeah, come at us.
If he dies, he dies.
What a bizarre way to end a podcast. Well, everyone, all men must die. All men must serve.